Yes,
well.
very well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember before we start the last conversation we had, so that we can easily transition this.
Yeah.
What were we talking about when we were standing?
Entrepreneurship
Entrepreneurship,
and how
like,
like how I went into massage therapy.
into massage
Yeah,
therapy. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I remember the question
Yeah.
I asked was, how did you end up choosing
Massage therapy.
Was
Yes.
it-
So and I was explaining about my grandmother
Yes.
and all of that.
Yes.
And so when my let's see where I was. Yeah, I did a little bit of work with my, the little bit I helped my brother-in-law when he was in hospital.
Okay.
And I realized that, not really realized, but you kind of, when everybody tells you something like, oh, okay, you seem to be good in this, why don't you do it?
Yeah.
So even my own sister-in-law would say, like, why don't you come and massage his hands or his feet? He tends to fall asleep when you massage his feet and his hands. So I did, and not knowing that would end up being a career for me. So when I moved to the United States with my son, of course the big challenge being, how do I change a career that will allow me to have time for my son?
Yes.
And there were so many advertisements.
Yeah.
You read in the newspapers, ads, and you're like, Potomac School of Massage. Oh, Baltimore School of Massage. I was like, people actually go to school to do massage therapy. I mean, this is something that is done home. My aunt does this, and I was like, so I inquired.
Okay.
And I was told, no, here you have to get certified. You have to get a license.
Yes.
And I thought, okay. Then when I looked at the curriculum, I'm not seeing anything that is talking about pain, about somebody being sick and being helped with massage therapy, because that's what I knew. Because when I thought about massage, I said, if I have to do this, if I have to choose between going to nursing school and doing massage like they are advertising, because almost every ad was either nursing or massage therapy, massage class. Like there's something about this that I don't know. So I visited one of the schools called Potomac School of Massage. And so they were telling me what they do.
Okay.
But I kept feeling like it's not the right place.
Okay.
Then I went to another school. Now I'm doing school visits.
Yes.
I went to another school in Baltimore, the Baltimore School of Massage. And they had another campus in Jacksonville in Florida.
Okay.
So I went to the one in Baltimore and I talked to one of the directors, and she started talking about pain management and how they work with people. They teach students how to do the basic medical massage. And I was like, this is starting to ring a bell.
Okay.
So I need to start looking more to kind of get exactly what it is.
Okay.
So I visited various other schools, and I did more research. There was a school in Colorado, there was a school in Jacksonville, and there was one in Tampa.
Okay.
So, and then I found one here in North Carolina, and I had a friend who lived here, a childhood friend. We grew up together. So I told her, I was talking with her. She said, why don't you come and visit while you check out this school?
Wow.
When I got to that school, a small school called Medical Arts Massage School, when I went in there and talked to the owner, who was a physical therapist. And so he started talking to me and telling me the goal and the vision of the school and the mission and all that. I said, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be.
Okay.
So I went back to Maryland, packed my things,
And came.
moved to North Carolina in 2000.
Okay.
And with this was my goal. I'm going to go to school, finish up here in North Carolina, and then go back to Maryland, because that's where I knew most of the years that I had been coming to America. I always ended up in the DC area in Maryland or New York or around there, but I loved the DC area. So Maryland was my place. But then I came down here, and with my son, when I finished college, I actually moved back to Maryland for 6 months. I could not handle it in Maryland. It was too busy. After being here for 2.5 years, moving back to Maryland was like,
a little bit chilled out.
It didn't work out. It was so expensive, childcare and all of that. Whereas here, I had a network of single parents, and we could help each other.
Yes, that community.
So I moved right back, applied for my North Carolina license, got my license, and I opened my first office.
Okay.
Actually, one of the ladies that we graduated together had an office, so I rented part of her office, not as her employee, on my own.
And that's
so we shared an office.
2000?
Yes. That was in 2003.
2003.
After I graduated in March, I opened the office in June, July.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's see, the mindset was like you already knew you were gonna start a business.
Oh yeah.
So now tell us, where do you even start? So how long did you stay there in that space?
I stayed in that space, I think, for about 6 months.
6 months.
And then I realized that because we shared the space, it was very restrictive for me, because when you have a business where clients have to come in and you're starting off, it's good that you have a space, but at the same time I wanted to grow my business. And I couldn't grow the business when I'm only open 2 days a week or 3 days a week. I needed more than that. I needed the kind of business I'm in. I needed people to come at their convenience, as opposed
flexibility of time.
Yes. So, I ended up now moving from there, and I rented a space at a ladies' gym up in North Hills, in the North Hills area. There was a ladies' fitness center, and they had a room where they had two rooms. One was an esthetician doing skincare, and also she was doing skincare and hair. And the other room was rented to me, so I could do massage therapy. So the ladies from the gym a lot of them became my clients. I actually
Was that strategic, or you just were looking for a space?
I was looking for a space. I just walked in, asked for the space, if they had any space, and they told me, yeah, we do. And I can tell you that first week I started there, I remember it was October of 2003. October, November, around towards Christmas of 2003.
Yes.
What? You started business way back then?
I started business way back then, 2003. The first client, among the first clients who came to see me, still comes to me until today.
Wow.
Until today, with her family. It's like family.
I was checking your Google reviews.
Yeah.
And there's one comment I was like, they're calling you the magical hands.
Magical finger.
Magical finger. Yes.
So I do have clients that I've worked with for over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And my business has been a lot of referrals. Word of mouth. Word of mouth. Because I believe when you do something good, others will tell others. And that is the key thing when you're starting business. Always do good. Do work that you would like somebody to do for you. So in business, you always want to look at I call it best practices. And of course, even the Bible says you do unto others what you like to, to be done unto you. And that's the thing I like to do. Is like when you come to me and you have a need, I want as much as possible to fulfill that need, just like I was the one with the need and you are fulfilling that for me. So I always, I like to treat everybody as an individual. So I don't go and say, okay, this is what I'm offering, and I give you the same thing. Your bodies are not the same. Your body needs are different from her body needs. You may all have shoulders that are hurting, but your shoulder is structured differently from hers.
That's true.
I can't just do a blanket treatment. So I like to do that, and that's why a lot of my clients are from long time ago. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Then how did you then transition to this?
To Nightdale. To Nightdale. So in 2005, I lived in an apartment in Raleigh, and so Raleigh was convenient for me. But in 2005, I bought my home here in Nightdale, and I thought, that commute to Raleigh was a little too much. But yet, I couldn't just close down and come out here. So what I did first was to look for a space that was reasonable. because you don't want all your money to go into a big space, and you don't want to spend a lot of money in a space. You want to make sure that what you're making will cover your rent and your overheads.
Okay.
So I kept my space in Raleigh, and I opened my first space here in Ideal, right up the road, actually just
Down the
like
street.
down the street,
Okay.
just up here. So I opened my first space there, and I would work there 4 days a week. No, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and 2 days I would work in Raleigh. So my clients that were able to come here from wherever, I have clients coming from Durham, from Fuquay, from Rocky Mount, I even had clients who used to drive from Virginia twice a month so that I can treat them. So I have clients who come from different parts of very far.
Yes.
Others would, whenever they came here to see their family members, because their family members came to see me, they would bring them over here. Yeah, I have I have a client who travels from South Carolina every 2 months for me to treat his shoulder.
Wow.
So anyway, so I moved to that office in 2005 after I moved to my house here in North Carolina, in Nidale. And I was in that office for 5 years.
Okay.
So at the time I needed to expand. I had 2 rooms, and I had a therapist. I had hired a therapist on contract. So, but I needed to expand, and there was a few problems with the facility. The management was not good. We had some management issues.
Yes.
And most of the time when you have management issues with a building or with a space, it affects you because you stress out.
Yes.
And when you're doing some work, some certain kind of works, you don't want to be in a stressful, situation.
Yes.
You want to be in an environment that is giving you that energy, positive energy.
Yes.
So I moved from that space and went to another space up the road. Nice space. It was bigger. It was more or less almost like this one.
Okay.
It was bigger, but again, I only stayed there for 2 years, and I moved on the 3rd year because the management, again, when you're picking a space, think of what you're doing.
Okay.
What business are you in? What kind of clients are coming to see you? Who are your customers?
Okay.
Are you looking for a place that is busy, a lot of foot traffic, or are you looking for a place that is calm and easy? When you're looking also for a space, do you want cars driving right outside your house? There's
Depending
so
on the nature of
many.
your business.
Yes, there's so many things.
Yes.
If your business does not depend on walk-ins, you want a calm place. You want a space that does not have a lot of disruption from the outside. The space I had over in the other strip, not far from here, the one I stayed for 2 years. One, the landlord would not fix things. So you have to look at that contract. What can you do, and what can the contract, what does the landlord say they want to
the
do?
contract when you signed that you will have to fix anything that's not.
No, but what some of these spaces do, the management is different from the renting company, from the leasing company. So the leasing company makes sure that the space is leased.
Okay.
The management makes sure the space is taken care of.
Okay.
They always are not the same.
Okay.
They are not the same. The leasing company leases the space, and they move on to find another space for other.
space,
Yeah.
Yes.
So as far as running the place and what needs to be done, it's up to you and the management. And if you don't read through the fine lines, you can get into a lot of problems. The first building I moved to, I got to know the owner, and we were very good friends, and he was like father to me.
Okay.
He always came to check on me, what's going on, what do you need, all of that. But I grew the place.
Okay.
And then I used to have clients who could not make it through stairs and places like that.
Okay.
So it became a little cumbersome. But if I did not have that problem, I would have stayed that place for a long time, because the owner was a really great person.
Okay.
That other one, the one I moved to, was disaster.
Yeah, not fixing
Different.
things.
Yes, And then also the location, I did not think about the location. It was not conducive to my...
Opposite Lowe's?
No, it was actually near Big Lots. Not Big Lots. Yeah, it was near... it was near Big Lots, which is just up the road here.
Okay.
So that space, one, the parking was... The way the parking is,
Yes.
you have to park and then cross a busy place. Some of my clients were not able to walk properly. Some of them, so by the time they park their car, they come up, they have to wait for traffic and then come up. And then there was a threshold, they had to walk up a step. So that kind of threw me off. And then we had a restaurant next to us. The food smell came into the room. We tried to work with the landlord to fix things. It just did not work out. So 2 years I was like, okay, this is not working out. One, I still have a client load, but the landlord will not fix anything. There was a sewer. It was disastrous. It was not a good place.
Okay.
So I was there for 2 years, and then I got another space further up near Bojangles. So I moved there, nice space. It was beautiful space. The owners were fantastic.
Okay.
And they managed everything really well. They had 3 rooms, so I had every space I needed for everything I needed. Parking was fantastic.
Yes.
There was no noise from anywhere. The previous space, there was a shop next door that there was always noise. There was a barber shop. There was always noise. From the restaurant, there was always the smell of food. From outside, there was always traffic. And so it was a really inconveniencing space. So you have to think of who your client is.
Okay, now I get it. Now I didn't understand what you were saying.
Yes.
Now I understand.
Yes.
What you mean. Yeah,
Who
your client-
is my client
Yes.
mobile enough to come in here?
Yeah.
Is my client threatened by any circumstances that are outside my door? Does my client feel comfortable if it's a disabled client? Are they able to walk up and come to your door? So all this, no matter how well your office looks inside, that space between the parking and your doorway makes a big difference.
A big difference.
Yes,
Yeah.
makes
Depending
a
on the client, 'cause
Exactly.
that office would work great maybe for an event
exactly.
space or something
Yes.
like that because
Yes.
of the kind of clients that you have.
Yeah.
That's insightful.
Yes, and there was a pizza place right next door. So the smell of food and massage therapy.
You relax them and then they get hungry. and then they
Yeah,
get
so
stressed.
it was not a conducive space.
Okay.
But the one I moved to further up, it was an office condo. I was on the ground floor. Again, you have to figure out, is it upstairs? Is it downstairs?
Okay.
Is there a lift to go? Is there an elevator to go up to if you're on the second floor? Is there an elevator? So your client always has to be in your mind.
Okay.
You
like
got to
clients,
think,
yeah.
yes. If you're in a business where you don't depend on the clients coming into your office, you're fine. You can be
fine.
anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah.
But when you're thinking of a client coming to your office,
Okay.
you really have to put that client first.
Okay.
That customer comes first.
Okay.
The comfort of that customer, the way the space looks, all of that from outside to inside,
Yes.
you have to consider all of that.
Okay. Hi. So my next question is, and I know you mentioned it a little bit, picking a space where you can not break even, but at least make a little bit more.
Yes.
So that is based on the kind of clientele that you have. or-
Right.
So what if you're just beginning, but you know you have a service like you that you can deliver? What's a good office space to start with?
The first thing, of course, depends on the kind of business you have.
Okay.
The second thing I would say is, very importantly, you have to have at least 2 to 3 months rent. I think 3 to 6 months rent saved up,
Okay.
because you don't know whether you're going to make it.
Okay.
Okay,
3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months, because even if you don't make enough money, at least the first 3 months, you can make enough money to pay your 7th and 8th month.
Yeah.
Second thing is, instead of taking up a big space right from the beginning,
Yes.
look for a space you can sublet from somebody. Share an office
Okay.
for the first few months or even for a year. And if it's a place that okay working with more with over long period, it's okay to share space with people for a long time, as long as you get along.
Yes.
Your business does not interfere with theirs and theirs does not interfere with yours. And that will help you build your capital to enable you get into a space on your own. Because I always say that in a week, if you don't make enough money to pay your rent for the month,
Or
in a week, then because I look at it this way: the first week,
Yes.
the rent pays.
What time is it?
What time is it? Okay. Hi, 1 second.
The first week, your income should pay your rent. The second week, that income should pay you.
Okay.
Then the rest of it, it's either profit or you can put it to something. But the first 2 weeks should take care of the business and yourself.
So yourself is not really the profit.
No,
You pay yourself.
you
first.
pay yourself first.
Okay.
You always
Yeah,
pay yourself
profit.
first.
Okay.
No, you always pay yourself first. Yes.